What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, and they are out of Milton, Delaware, and this is their 120-minute IPA, and this is the 2024 release. So they're calling this one the Imperial IPA. That comes in at 15.5% alcohol by volume, 120 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is just under 4.5 months old, so good old 120-minute IPA. So I've reviewed the 60-minute, I've reviewed the 90-minute, so it makes sense to finally review this one. I would review the 75-minute, but I haven't seen that beer in a long time. It's basically, I'm pretty sure it's a blend of their 60 and 90-minute, and then they condition it on maple syrup. Delicious beer. Haven't seen it in a long time. So anyway, full disclosure, I've had this beer numerous times before. I've had it relatively fresh, like a couple months old. I've also had it pretty well aged. I think close to 5 years is the oldest I've had a bottle of this. And on the side of the label, it says, what you have here is the Holy Grail for hopheads. This beer is continually hopped over a 120-minute boil, and then it's dry hopped for over a month. Enjoy now, or aged for a decade or so. I would love to try this one with like 10 plus years on it. Drinking it fresh, it just drinks like a super, to me, like a super hop forward barley, like American barley wine. As it ages though, it becomes more like if you age like aging a Bigfoot, where like 3, 4, or 5 years down the line, it's still pretty hop forward, but you drink that one like 10 to 15 years later, probably the hops have dissipated almost to nothing. I don't know. I would love to try it 10 years old, but this is a big beer. This is big beer. It's a complex beer. It's a boozy beer. I kind of expect it to be all over the place. I've always enjoyed this one, but if you ask me if I'd rather have this or like a 60 or 90 minute, I'm probably going to say 60 or 90 minute if I'm being honest with you. It's just those beers are kind of more in my wheelhouse. But I haven't had this one probably since the late 2010s. I'd say like 2018, 2019. So we're going to pour it in the hashtag proper glassware and go from there. So this year, they usually release this at least once a year, sometimes twice. This year it showed on their calendar that they're releasing this one basically throughout like the spring and summer months. And I had to grab it and review it. Oh my God, it's so fucking sweet. It's one thing I always forget about this one. It's 15.5%. Of course it can be sweet, you idiot. Anyway, in the hashtag proper glassware, wow, I don't know how this can come off on camera. There's chunks. I don't know if I should have poured the bottom in. Holy fuck, this is super carbonated too. But anyway, there's just chunks. Like, because of the carbonation at the bottom, this has the nucleation that promotes carbonation. The chunks are just kind of getting spun around. It looks fucking gnarly. It's like the chunks are up here spinning around. The carbonation is fucking absurd. This has been in my fridge since I bought it. And I bought it from a fridge. So I don't know what's going on there. But this has that crazy dark, like deep orange color. I always say something about this glass, like, oh my God. Is that coming off on camera? The sediment here, it does not even, like a lot of times, like, oh, very fine sediment. No, it's just, fuck, I don't think I should have poured it in the bottom. Whatever, what are you gonna do? But yeah, that looks gnarly. The carbonation is crazy. Has a one finger of this lightly tan colored head. Looks beautiful. The alcohol legs are fucking stupid. They're just clinging to the side of the glass. But yeah, what I would say about this glass is like right here, when I hold up to the light, or even right here, it's like a burnt orange, dark orange. And then down here, it's like more of like a lighter, like yellow orange. But I don't know. I'm kind of worried about, I'm not worried about the sediment, but I hope it doesn't change anything flavor-wise. Oh, Jesus Christ. So if you were to hand me this blind, I would say 100% this smells like a fucking, one of two styles, an American barley wine or American strong ale. It's just all the fucking malt characters you could think of. Like, it's caramelized malt. It's like super, just like bready, honey, caramel. But it also has like a significant like fruity kind of quality. Like dried like apricot and peaches. Could be coming from the hops, could be coming from the malts, the yeast, whatever. Like, it just, but to me it seems like it's very malt driven, which it's probably going to be. The malt character dominating, but there is a nice like piney floral resinous character as well. There's pretty big citrus notes here, like grapefruit and orange. The alcohol, while it's very noticeable, 15.5%, it's not like very astringent in the nose. Like a lot of times these big boozy beers, like you take a sniff and you're like, Jesus Christ, that's, you know that's a big beer. Still, people still shooting off fireworks like 3 weeks after the 4th of July. Shout out to them. That was fucking loud. I hope that picked up on camera. It's pretty fucking late at night too. Yeah, this is gnarly. So tons of like dried like stone fruits, There's the citrus fruits in here, but it has like that piney kind of floral, kind of resinous tone from the hops, but then all that malt goodness is in here. This is a very complex beer. And again, I've had this numerous times, so I kind of know that, but it's been a while since I've had this one. So it's like, It's like a more intense, like to me, like Bigfoot. It smells gnarly. It almost smells like smelling it like some kind of like, maybe like a cognac or like a port wine. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to pick up any more out of the nose. It is a big, intense, vibrant beer. This is, I've said this before recently, this is not for the faint of heart. I think I said that in the Sammy Claus review because it's such a more fireworks, I apologize. It's such a malty beer. This, while still, very malt forward, has that hop character, but again, it's very intense and just like, whew. All right, let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. It's such a fucking, it just takes your palate for like a roller coaster ride. Like it's fucking, I'm surprised at how dry this beer is because it's very sweet up front. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for the smacking and whatnot, but I'm trying to process what I'm tasting and it's just fucking wild how complex this beer is. I will say, my preference, like I said, is with age on it, but fresh right now, it's not too crazy for me because this is just under 4.5 months old. I know that's crazy to say it's fresh, but for a beer like this, it's pretty fresh. But the body on this one, this is thick, it's syrupy, it's definitely heavy on the palate. Yeah, it's full body for sure. The mouthfeel, good carbonation, as you can see with the, the carbonation flowing there. It's not as carbonated as this glass indicates. I'd say it's just moderately carbonated. This beer is relatively smooth for what it is, but that's in the eye of the beholder. Like, there's no astringency on the palate for me. And it has almost like a slight creaminess to it, the mouthfeel. So the mouthfeel's nice. The body's appropriate. The taste, where to begin, I don't even know. It does have, like, again, like a cognac or like maybe even a slight brandy or like almost I'm gonna say sherry or port. I did say port wine sherry. I'd say it's more like a cognac to me. It kind of has like some kind of alcohol that's a bit sweeter. So like a cognac or maybe even a brandy. Forefront, just a shit ton of malt, like all kinds of malt. There's honey, like there's a honey drizzled white bread into caramel and toffee. There's a lot of dried fruit in this one, almost marmalade-esque, like if you wanted to say like an apricot marmalade or like something in that realm, like a stone fruit marmalade or like a mixed fruit marmalade, because I'm getting orange, I'm getting like orange rind, orange peel, not as heavy on the grapefruits, more orange for me, but then you mix in some stone fruits and some other like nondescript fruits, and it gives me that, and I've said this before, like aged Imperial IPAs and double IPAs, I'll get like orange marmalade or some kind of marmalade on like a white toast. And that's kind of what I'm getting here is that specifically, but I'd say more of like a mixed fruit marmalade than anything else. That's the first half of the palate. On the second half though, this beer, and again, first half, very, very sweet beer. I mean, it's 15.5%, all the malt they're using. It's very sweet. The second half of the palate though is where it kind of tries to balance it out to some degree. It has this nice floral, resinous pine tone. It's earthy. There's a little bit of like a, it's not herbaceous, maybe a slight like grassy tone. It's more of that like floral resinous pine quality though. This finish is semi to full on dry. There's a moderate bitterness here as well. This isn't, here's the thing. Even though it has like a nice dryness and a nice bitterness, this beer is not really balanced because it's still, even with those qualities to me and relatively fresh for what it is, it's still just a big malt bomb. Now, this is, right now it's kind of, I hate to say it's like an unfortunate period for me, but it's kind of in that realm where it's still a little bit too, there's still a little bit too much of a hop character for me to absolutely love this beer. I still like it, and I know that how stupid that sounds. It's a fucking Imperial IPA, Joe. I know. Just hear me out. I like what this beer turns into after aging it for a long time because the hop quality and the hop character of the beer, I shouldn't say quality, hop character, starts to dissipate and the malt comes to the forefront, but it becomes more complex. And the dryness, I notice when it ages too, becomes a little bit more intense for me. And it just becomes more of what I enjoy, which is a barley wine as opposed to an Imperial IPA. At the end of the day, I prefer this one with age on it, as I said. However, fresh, this is still pretty fucking good. This is really good. Little bit of like a vanilla kind of twinge on the sides of the palate. I'm trying to formulate a score in my head, but also how much do I enjoy this one? Also 15.5%. Here's the thing. Shout out to Paul over at Paper News. Big worm in my chest, right? Into my stomach. Like I can feel it going down. But on the palate, it's not as boozy as I remember it being. And most years, this is anywhere between, these danger caps used to be 15 to 20%. They actually put the specific ABV on here, 15.5. I imagine maybe older batches were more in that 18 to 20 realm, because this doesn't drink as boozy as I remember prior batches being. Yeah, this is a bit easier to drink than I remember it being. Relatively fresh. Again, I call this one fresh if it's under 6 months old. That's the way I look at it. And this is relatively fresh to me. It's kind of drinking more like an American barley wine. But I know in a couple years, if not like 5+ years, this is going to be a fucking fantastic beer for what I'm looking for. And again, I'm a malt lover. I love, barley wines and old ales and things of that nature. So I like this one when it has those characteristics without like a huge hop character. But for what it is, I think it's really good. This is one of those beers that I think every craft beer lover, especially if you're a hophead, you should try this one if you've never had before, just for shits and giggles, because it is an experience in itself. It really is. So rating, I'm not going to give it 2 ratings. I'm going to give it my own personal rating. And where it is right now at just under 4.5 months old, I'm going to be fair with this one, but also keep in mind that I still would prefer, even though I probably have rated 60 and 90 minute a little less than this, I still would, if you say, can I have one beer between 60, 90, and 120, I would definitely pick either 60 or 90, depending on my mood. This is just one of those, I want this beer like once or twice a year, probably once a year. It's a nice sipper, but I do think it's fucking really tasty. It's a special occasion beer. So anyway, 120-minute IPA, the 2024 release from Dogfish Head. I'm going to give this a low 4.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.2. Should have bought an entire 4-pack or maybe a couple bottles and aged one just to review maybe down the line. But, maybe I'll be able to find some aged ones at some point. But I think that's a fair score for what this beer is, for sure. All right, so price point availability. I paid $9.99 for that bottle. Typically, these danger cap beers like this, Worldwide Stout and whatnot, they're usually $40 a 4-pack. You might be able to find some places around here, maybe $36, $38 a 4-pack. But if you buy a single, it's usually $10 a bottle. Might be different where you are, but that's kind of the going rate. So we'll say $36 to $40 a bottle, usually $36 to $40 a 4-pack, not a bottle, $10 a bottle. Yeah, for something like this, I think it's worth paying easily. Especially now when you fucking, you go buy 4 packs of, 7% New England IPA for $20. Like, buying this single bottle for $10 is not that bad when you look at it from that angle. And availability, it's Dogfish Head. You might not be able to find it everywhere because it is technically a special release. But if you do get Dogfish Head in your area, check out some of your favorite bottle shops. Maybe go to Dogfish Head's website, check out their beer finder. This is still on the shelves at a couple places by me, I'm pretty sure. The last time I went out anyway, they were maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. There was a couple places that still had a couple 4-packs, but as is, it's again, the best way for me to sum this beer up is if you've never had it before, try it out at some point, but go into it knowing that this is just a huge beer, a very complex beer, and one that's not, again, for the faint of heart. If you're somebody who doesn't like hop-forward beers, do not stay away from this one. It has enough hop character, it'll probably scare you off. If you love malt-driven beers, it's still one to try. Even if you're not a hophead, I still give it a go. If you're a hophead, you got to try it at some point. So that's where I'll leave this one. I'm probably going to take hour and a half to drink the rest of this, maybe even a couple hours, and we'll see where we end up. But it was fun to review. I would like to get my hands on the 75-minute if they ever release it again, because I really enjoyed that one. I remember it came in like the big 750 milliliter bottles, and it was fun. So anyway, if you've had this one before, whether it's this year's release, prior releases, here's a fun thing that hopefully somebody responds to. If you've had this one significantly aged, what's the oldest you've had this beer and how did it drink? Because I would love to try a bottle that's like 10 plus years old. I think it would be fucking a lot of fun. And yeah, I would really like to give it a go. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. This was the last shelfie beer that I'm reviewing for the month of July 2024. Is this really a shelfie beer? It kind of is, but not really. A little bit of cheek, but it is what it is. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Till the next one. Cheers.